Most businesses couldn't run without databases. They store everything from customer details to stock levels, to employee details to pricing information, and hundreds of other things besides. In the past, all this information would have been stored on paper and stuck in filing cabinets, but computers have made creating, finding, and retrieving information so much easier. You don't even need to get out of your chair, you just open the database on your screen and browse. Most websites are driven by a database. For example, a dating site would keep all its members' information in one. Photos, profiles, favourite music and movies and everything in between. And buying things over the internet wouldn't be possible without databases. Say you were looking for a t-shirt. Information about all those different shirts live on a database, along with additional data like colours, sizes and how many are in stock. If you bought one, extra information is added to the database about you. An order number, the date of purchase, when it will be shipped, plus your name and address so it actually gets to you. So databases have huge advantages, but also disadvantages too. Select the tick or cross to find out more. You can access databases from wherever you are in the world via a computer. You can sort information, choose information, and print out or export information without having to wrestle with a load of paper. While databases are efficient, they're not always secure. Even if they're password protected, it's always possible that someone could get in and read or change the information. And because computers can break down, sometimes it's just not possible to access the database, which can spell huge trouble for companies. Databases present information to us in tables. Each table is made up of records. One record for each item you're putting in the database. Databases can be tailored for different needs, like the online t-shirt store or the dating site. They're both databases, but each one needs to contain different types of data. Say hello to data types! If a database is well structured, it will be a lot easier and faster to use. One way to help with this is to use specific data types for certain pieces of information. There are many data types. Let's take a look at some of them. Select a data type to find out a bit more. Currency is perfect for logging amounts of money. This type automatically adds a currency symbol such as pound, euro, or dollar. It also makes sure there are 2 decimal places, so you can keep track of those pennies. A yes-no data type, sometimes called Boolean, restricts any data entered to one of only 2 choices. You could use this to record when somebody signs up to receive a newsletter, or if they have allowed their friends to view their uploaded photos. A number type allows only whole or decimal numbers to be entered, but not text or symbols. These types of field are great for recording quantities, and can also be added together. An alphanumeric data type allows you to enter text, numbers and symbols. This is very flexible and can be used for a wide range of items, from people's names to registration numbers. Sanjeev? Date time ensures any date added contains between 1 and 31 days, and from 1 to 12 months. It will also check that the date you have entered actually exists too, so you don't end up with a month containing 31 days that only has 30. Each record also needs to have a primary key. That's a field which contains a value completely unique to that record. It's perfect if you've got different versions of the same thing. For example, the dating website couldn't use the name as the primary key, because there could be lots of people called Kareem or Claire, so they would assign an ID number that's completely unique, and that's the primary key. Now we'll always be able to find our dream match. If databases contain incorrect information, that spells trouble. But databases have a clever way of ironing out the most obvious mistakes, and that's called validation. Every time you enter information into a field, the computer will check to make sure you've not typed something completely ridiculous. Let's take a look at some of the common types. Let's start with a presence check. Databases won't accept empty fields, but a presence check will, wait for it, check if something is present. This is used all the time when you're asked to enter your name. So if we type a name, Mr. Boone, it should validate because something is present in the field. Hit the submit button and let's see. Ta-da! Next up is the field length check. This can be used to check what is entered into a field is a certain number of characters. Let's say this field only accepts names no more than 8 characters long. So, will Montgomery validate? Unfortunately, Montgomery won't pass the field length check as it's over the 8 character limit. Let's change it to something shorter. Here we have a range check. This type of validation allows a field to only accept numbers that fall within a certain range. So let's say this field only accepts numbers between 1 and 50, and 58 is entered. Will this validate? Correct! In this instance, 58 is higher than the range allowed, so this wouldn't validate. Last but not least is an input mask. This validation test works out whether we've entered the information in the right way. It's great for things like ensuring postcodes have a letter at the start, or an email address has the right parts. Take a look at the way this email address is formatted. Will it validate? Correct! This clearly isn't a proper email address without an @ symbol, so let's put that right. So, validation keeps a database in working order by allowing good stuff in and keeping those errors out. But while validation will stop you putting in values that can't be correct, it doesn't necessarily mean that the data is correct. The only way to do that is to check it yourself. Information is great, but searching through hundreds, thousands, or even millions of records could take ages. Fortunately, we can search a database really simply. All we have to do is submit a query. Queries allow you to filter information, separating the things you don't want from the things you do. So those dating sites keep hundreds, maybe thousands of records for people wanting to find that special someone. Finding that perfect person hiding in a database could be tricky, but using queries we can find this little guy a date. To start with, he has a dog, so any potential girlfriend will have to like pets. Hit search and let's start the matchmaking. So, out of the database, there are 58 girls who like pets. It's a good start, but we need to narrow it down a bit more. Otherwise, he'll be going on a lot of dates. He doesn't want a taller girlfriend, so let's try searching for matches that are under 1.6 meters. Using a less than symbol, we can filter within our results to just show matches that are less than 1.6 meters. This is more like it. 12 results. Maybe one more query. He can't drive, so he would ideally like to find somebody who lives close by. Let's use one last query to find any matches that are less than 2 kilometers. Looks like we've found that special someone. Using queries, we've narrowed down the information in the database and found a perfect match. Your work here is done. Unless they don't get on, then it's back to the database. Databases are all very well, but the information is stored in huge strings of computer code. What you need is an easy way for people to get the information in and out. And the best way of doing that is with a form. You'll see them everywhere on computers and across websites, a load of fields where you can enter information to either send to the database or use to get data out of it. Information like your email address is usually required when you sign up for something. When you press submit on that form, your email is added to the database. When a database is full of information, looking at those lines of code starts to get a bit crazy. To help you make sense of this, a report can come in really handy. You don't have to ask for all the information. If you were in charge of a social network site, you could receive specific things like how many people over 20 have signed up this year, or the total number of sign-ups this week.